It's the Wincinnati roundtable. We'll talk about what the Bengals have coming up after the bye after this intro.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I am Ace. We have the Wincinnati Roundtable, Zim Hude. We've got Maan on fire. Coach Jake Owens representing the Cincinnati brand. We are here tonight to talk to you guys about the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, the Bengals are on a bye week this week, but coming up this weekend after you get your Thanksgiving turkey and everything in, the Bengals will be right back to you. Just want to check in with everybody before we get started. Zim, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. I'm really happy. We haven't really had a chance to do a roundtable on Cincinnati. I think we've come on the Bengals Pulse. So this is a great introduction for a lot of people that do not watch the Bengals Pulse on our channel on Wincinnati. Please make sure y'all check these guys out. But I want to talk to the champ. How you feeling, Jake? Fresh off the championship.
Good. I'm still on cloud nine right now. I mean, obviously, season's ended, but this is the time to start reflecting, and I really haven't had a chance to do that yet. So we just won it last week, so just reflecting on not just winning a state championship, but just the entire year and where we are as a program and how far we've come and how much we accomplished. And now I'm already working on getting my seniors into college. So, the normal off season stuff hasn't stopped, but yeah, man, it feels good. I'll tell you, I'm hungrier than ever now. I mean, you get that first one, you get that taste, and now you're already thinking about how we can go back and repeat it. So, I'm excited about the team that we got and what we got coming back. So, yeah, man, doing good.
Mom, how we doing tonight, brother?
Doing real well. Excited for the holidays. My kids will be in town. At least most of them will be. And let's see, that kick off the 6-game win streak for the Bengals. And we need our guys to do it. And let's get this show kicked off. Let's have some fun.
Yes, sir. That's the energy that we need. By the way, guys, this show is powered to you guys by BETUS. Make sure that you tap in with them. Make sure that you take advantage of the 150% promo that they are offering right now. That promo is using YouTube 150. That's going to get you a 150% match on your first bet, 125% match everyone afterwards. Monday Night Football has not kicked off yet, so if you do want to head on over to BETUS, you can put some bets in on those Chargers because they're about to cook the Ravens tonight. So make sure that you guys bet with BETUS tonight. But let's kick things off first. Let's kick it off with Maan, man. Who is the MVP of the team? I feel like you could go in 3 different directions with this, but what is your case for who should be the MVP of this team thus far this season?
Okay, most valuable player. I'm going to change the V to an I. The most impressive player on the Bengals. To me, it's going to be Trey Hendrickson, and I'll tell you why. What he's doing is a one-man show on that defensive line. He doesn't have anybody else there that can really help out with sack production or as a threat. He's doing it all by himself, and his 11 sacks leading the NFL. It is so impressive because he's a one-man machine, and that is it. Obviously, Burrow and Chase, I get it. They are just phenomenal. All three of those guys are arguably the best. You can make an argument they're the best at their position, but I'm going with the most impressive player, Trey Hendrickson, because he's been unstoppable, and he's doing it without a counterpart that's given a consistent threat on the other side. We don't really have a consistent threat on the interior defensive line. He's just that dominant and that special, and I hope we keep him for another couple years.
Yeah, I'm going to take a different approach here. I'm going to go with Ja'Marr Chase, and the reason why, The circumstances that Jamar Chase has played in this season, I think when you talk about T. Higgins not being a guy to be there to kind of free him up with the double teams, what he's been able to do has been extremely impressive. We talk about him having nearly a 300-yard game without T. Higgins playing in the game. We talk about how these teams play cover two high shell against these guys, and the fact that he's still been able to do this with him getting out to that slow start. I think about back when a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Jamar Chase is a top 5 receiver. Look what he's done the first couple of games without even practicing this summer," right? The fact that he's been able to do that to me means that he's one of the best players in football. And what he was able to do without T. Higgins, coming off of the situation, him not really getting a training camp in, I've got to actually go with Jamar Chase there. Zim, who is your choice for the MVP for the Bengals?
You stole my thunder, bro. Like I thought everybody would be like, yeah, it's obvious, it's Joe Burrow. And to me, it really is Joe Burrow. But I will say this: there is a legitimate case. I get it. The most important position on the football field is the quarterback. But there is a legitimate case that Jamar Chase might be the best player, like in a year where TJ Watt and all these guys aren't really lighting it up like crazy. Think about like the defensive player of the year conversation. There is no Aaron Donald or whatever. He's not. It's to me. I just watched that Vikings game. Yes, a lot of double teams to Justin Jefferson or whatever. Dude had one catch for like 7 yards, and I'm not judging him off of one game, but Jamar Chase is just this different animal that I don't think people have really seen. Like if you're younger, you saw Megatron, Randy Moss, and guys like that. This is different to me because his yak ability. I was watching AJ Brown last night. It's like that, but it's even more. Like there was an AJ Brown one that I think the average fan is like, oh my God, I can't believe he got an extra 15 yards. I was watching the game saying Jamar would have took that to the house. Like every single time that he gets the ball and there's just a little bit of space, I'm like, he's gone. Like there are plays, even in the Chargers game, early in the game, he had like 2 guys he was breaking a tackle with, and it looked like he was about to break free and just be gone. Like he's a running back in a wide receiver's body, but he's more powerful. Like he's the MVP to me just because Joe Burrow, I just think that he's the man. But without Jamar Chase, I don't know what this season looks like for Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow will be hit even more. I think Jamar Chase is like the ultimate cheat code for anybody. And I know our fan base is reluctant to say that sometimes because they feel like that will take away from the validity of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow going to be the man regardless. I think Jamar Chase might be the best player in the National Football League right now in a year that a lot of people wouldn't even have played. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's in a contract situation and he just gave us all of this triple crown. I'm going Jamar Chase.
What's up, Jake?
Well, I mean, how can I argue with either one of those? I mean, listen, I talk about this on our show all the time. We have 3 players on this roster that are the best players at their position in the National Football League. I don't care what anyone says. We can argue it all day. It's facts. I love what Jamar's doing. I love what Trey's doing, guys. But Joe Burrow is the MVP of this football team. And I'm going to go a step further. He's the MVP of this league. He is the best quarterback in the National Football League. And I'm going to tell you, it's really a shame, and I've talked about this on our show. It's really a shame that Joe Burrow is not going to be the MVP this season because of a very below average defense where Joe Burrow basically has to go out every week and score 50 points a game. Joe Burrow right now, guys, just to throw some quick stuff at you, okay? Right now he's at a 67 completion percentage, over 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. He has 7 games this year with a 100 or better passer rating and an 8th game that was at almost 99. 5 games with 3+ touchdowns. This guy he's played good enough where this Bengals team should be 9-2. If it wasn't for bad special teams and a really bad defense, Joe Burrow is having one of the best seasons that I can remember a quarterback having. And I'm going to say this. This is what scares me, guys. I grew up, and Maan grew up as well, watching the Dolphins of the 80s and watching Dan Marino go out and be the best player in the National Football League, but have subpar defenses every single year. And that is what this year reminds me of for Joe Burrow. And it's very sad because right now we should be talking about not who's the MVP of this team, but who's the MVP right now of the NFL. But we won't, because we know it's all about winning, and it is. But
can I say something real crazy real quick?
Of course.
If he were to go on a crazy run to end this season, and his numbers, now mind you, Lamar's taking a little bit step back in the race. You talked about winning. Say Lamar gets now mind you, he could, they have 4 L's. He could take an L tonight, right?
Yes, he could.
He could. He might take another L again this season too. If he were to have 6 losses, and then Joe Burrow has 7 losses, and then all these categories, I don't know if y'all seen his numbers next to Josh Allen. It's not even close. So,
no.
So, say Josh Allen lost a couple more games, and then we're just talking 7 L's for Joe Burrow. I think that it puts a lot of pressure on a lot of people. That's another reason why I want to see them go on a run.
I agree with you. I think if the Bengals make the playoffs, right, and let's say they win 5 of the next 6 or these next 6 in a row, if the Bengals make the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow is automatically back in the MVP race. But I think that is what has to happen. And I want to say something about Lamar. I know I'm always bashing Lamar. I respect Lamar's game, but I think what isn't looked at more is that Lamar Jackson loses against very bad football teams. And it's not just Lamar, but I think that needs to eventually come into some consideration how Lamar plays down to the competition, which he does. I mean, you look at those 4 L's for the Ravens are bad ones. I'm talking bad. I'm talking about worst teams in the NFL bad. And I think that should be in the conversation. But Joe Burrow, to me, is the best quarterback in the NFL. He comes off of a wrist injury that everyone says this guy's never going to be the same. And he is playing better than any quarterback right now in the National Football League. And it's not even close. It's not close. There is no
Jake, you know what? I don't even think I don't think his wrist is even close to being 100% yet. And look what he's doing. I think it's 80%. He throws some wobblers out there. They look ugly. And wait till he gets another year under his belt of strength and physical therapy. Yeah, it's a damn shame. I can't believe this defense. If this defense could be just a little bit better, we'd have 3-4 more wins. But
think about too. Oh, sorry. This is my last thing. I know we got to move on. But I just it fires me up. This conversation fires me up because people that don't watch our team like we all do, they don't understand. The Bengals have no run game. They have very, very bad offensive line coaching. Very, very bad offensive line coaching. They have no defense. It's basically and T has missed 5 games. I mean, this Joe Burrow has taken the field with a subpar group. Now, I agree, he might be the best player in football, but Jamar is different, and he's a big part of that. But when you look at the rest of what Joe Burrow has, and you look at teams taking Jamar away every single game, it is so impressive what Joe Burrow does on a week-to-week basis.
Nah, for sure. Once again, this show is sponsored by BETUS. Like I said earlier, you guys can head on over to BETUS, use that promo code YouTube150, get that 150% match. Take it full advantage of that. Like I said, bet on the Chargers tonight. You guys already know what time it is over there. Underrated player of the year. Zim, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with DJ Turner. I know that he's now on injured reserve, get well soon. This is a guy that – one thing that you know about me, Ace, is that there's a lot of people that point out when I'm right or whatever. I relish in the moments when sometimes when I'm wrong. And I like to be able to come back to those points because it helps me in my assessment moving forward. I think one of the trendiest things on the internet right now is like people that just never want to be wrong. Like, it's okay to be wrong. Like, you're still going to live. You're still going to be able to talk ball. You're still going to be able to breathe. DJ Turner is a guy that I didn't think could cut it against some of the better wide receivers in the National Football League. I said it repeatedly. I think he's undersized. I think they should move him to slot. What he did this season before he got injured, I think is pretty remarkable. Dax Hill, I would have put on there, but there's another category later on because Dax Hill did that too. But DJ Turner, now mind you, I would have loved to see him get his one-on-one fade back with George Pickens because George Pickens abused him last year. And part of what I was saying was like predicated on that. But for the guys that were in front of him, I thought he did a really good damn job this year. And I thought he was super underrated for this team.
Jake, who's your underrated player of the year?
I mean, I think Chase Brown, I just got to throw this out here. I think Chase Brown is definitely someone that needs to be talked about. We talked about it off air, Zim. You said he's on pace for 1,300, 1,500 yard season total yards wise. Right now, he's sitting at just over 800 with 7 touchdowns. Chase Brown has been definitely one of the bright points of this team. But I'm going to talk about my guy, Mike Hilton. This dude, listen, he is one of the most, not just on this team, he's one of the most underrated players in this league. He is one of the best nickel corners that has played in the last decade in this league. And again, he plays on a very, very bad defense. And I don't know about you guys, but every week I don't find myself saying, Trey, make a play. I find myself saying, Mike, please make a play. Because to me, when you look at this defense and the way they've played this year, Mike Hilton, he brings that energy and that juice every single week. And he always seems to make a play to get the Bengals back in a football game. Mike Hilton, to me, is an absolute dude. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, if the Bengals do not re-sign Mike Hilton, I'm going to lose it. I will lose it. I will lose it more than I lost it when they didn't re-sign Jesse Bates. I'm telling you now, if the Bengals do not bring back Mike Hilton, that will be the biggest mistake they have made in a decade.
Hey, Jake, you know one thing that's super underrated too? That Mike Hilton didn't play in that first Ravens game. That killed me. Like, right before the game, nobody mentioned that, and I thought that was big because we knew what he would do against Derrick Henry. I thought that was a big underrated person that was missing in that game.
Yeah, I'm going with Chase Brown here, man. I think Chase Brown going into the season, I couldn't understand like the love affair with Zack Moss, like coming in, because I was like, Chase Brown is a guy that really showed some explosiveness last year. When you talk about that Colts game and some of the things that they were able to do, for him to come in and do what he's done, I expected him to be RB1, but he's playing at a level where I can see him ascending to like top 15 running back in the NFL status with just the explosive plays that he's making. And I think it's in spite of this system, right? Like we kind of talked about it, like the Bengals run game system is ass. I'm sorry. Like it's not a good system. And so what he's been able to do in terms of being one of the most explosive players on this offense has helped him out a lot. I think he's not getting any help from the run blocking in this game. He's gotten limited opportunities in the passing game. That changed a little bit last week, but he's been able to just give the Bengals a lot of the spark that they've needed in the run game, even though the run game's been inconsistent. He's been the guy that can step in there and you can kind of depend on, and you can kind of expect him to be one of those explosive players. I would have put Eric All in here, but obviously Eric All went down. So I don't think he got to really see the expanded role that we expected from him. But for me, it's got to be Chase Brown. I don't think it's a question that he's one of the focal points, I believe, on this offense and one of the most explosive parts outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think after that, you got to go Chase Brown. What about you, Maan?
Okay, this guy started a handful of years. He's a pretty well-known player, but I think he's quietly having his best season as on the team. It was a massive position that was hit hard by injuries, but B.J. Hill has played really well for the Cincinnati Bengals. His stats are not sexy, but he's come in and solidified it. Guys, the run defense has gotten better. Out of 120 defensive tackles on PFF, out of 120, he's ranked 27th. And B.J. Hill is having a very good year. Sheldon Rankins has, I'm going to talk about him in a few minutes. But, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson, they've learned, he's a good mentor for them. At one time, the Bengals are starting Zach Carter and Tuafe, like, hey, and Zach, thank goodness B.J. Hill was in there helping them out. And he missed a few games also, but quietly having his best season. His stats aren't the sexiest thing, but he's played really well, and he's really solidified that defensive line, that interior, that is.
All right. Play of the year, fellas. Play of the year. Let's start with Maan on this one. What's your play of the year, Maan?
Man, there's so many of them that really stick out, but I'm going to tell you one. The crossing route in the Panther game to Jamar Chase. He caught that ball. I thought he was going to get tackled. He's bouncing around like a pinball. Bounces off 4 people. Next thing you know, he scores like on a 60-yard touchdown. I remember people around my house, I look, I'm like, man, that guy is an alien. He was unbelievable. That play just sticks out because I think it was his first touchdown of the season, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe wrong on that, but it was unbelievable. So many other ones in the Ravens game. He's owned them. He has like 500 yards against the Ravens, but the one against the Panthers, that little crossing route that he turned into a long touchdown, that shows you how explosive and how powerful he is.
Man, look, real quick. I was watching that. I was traveling. I was on a train, and there was a Bengal fan I found. And
train? People still ride trains?
Yes, bro. I had a family member was sick, and the plane, the flight was like $700 for like an overnight flight. So I hopped in.
Crazy.
Like business class. Oh, hey, look, if y'all want to like live like a king, go to business class. It's like first class. You get all this room. Drinks are free the whole time. Everything is amazing. I was on a train. And I was showing people the game. I'm talking about we were running around on the train watching that play. I still can't believe that play. That's a good one.
I'm gonna throw a curveball in here because this dude has been in the doghouse lately. I think if his season was going better, this play would be shown a lot more. I'm gonna go with CCB with the one-handed interception against Pat Mahomes. Very Odell Beckham Jr. like. Never seen a corner ever do that before. Seemed like it was going to be a big year for him, but obviously it went the opposite direction. But I'm actually going to go with the CTB pick because that was just crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a play like that. But Zim, let me get your player of the year.
I'm gonna go the opposite route on this one because no one said it had to be good or bad. I'm gonna go play of the year. I'm gonna go with the botch kick overtime Ravens game. I think if you hit that field goal, like we're talking about the Ravens currently right now with 5 L's minimum, right? And I'm still giving them the next one. But the Bengals in the situation that we're in, I don't think you're in that one. There's a lot of games we could say woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I feel like at that point, we've been saying week to week, this is a must-win game. That was the real first must-win game, I thought. Like the first time that I think our fan base was like, nah, we got to get this one. And we didn't get that one. And the way that it happened, like both those games are crushing. But that botch kick, it just, everything from it, the carryover, and then our season right now, like we're talking about these crazy performances in that game. I mean, like everybody, like everybody's going crazy in that game. T. Higgins didn't even play in that game, right? Oh no, he played in the first one. He played in the first one.
And he did play in the first one. Yeah, he played in the first one. Yeah.
And he went crazy.
Yeah, he played in the first one.
To me, I thought our team, if you really go back and look at that game, they did get stops, and I get it. Like they gave up 30-something points, but they did get like 3 or 4 stops early in the game. They did get like 2 late, and then when Lamar fumbled and gave them the game back, I said, in my mind, I never forget the feeling. I was like, oh, our season, we're back. And for us to miss that field goal like that, I don't know. I just never forgot that. I know that there's a lot of games that stick out to everybody. 4th and 16, I was there. I was at the 50-yard line for 4th and 16. I just didn't feel as as bad about that one as I did. Like, for some odd reason, I knew that the kick was a bad idea. The 3 plays to set it up, the coaching, everything that goes along with that, it just was so bad. And it just sticks out to me as like the play of the year that just kind of symbolizes our team a little bit.
Jake.
All right, Zim, you now stole my thunder. And I are you sure you're not a coach? Because let me tell you, when you guys sent us the itinerary of the show, as a coach, you don't think about the good plays. You think about the bad plays. When you say the play of the year, I'm going to tell you the play of the year. It was the 4th and 16 play. That was the play of the year. That was the moment to me where I felt like the wheels came off. I felt like they played so poorly against the Patriots. To have that opportunity in that moment, I feel like I think that was the defining part of our season. I'm going to agree with you. I was at Maan's house when the whole botched field goal thing, and that was the most deflating play for me as a fan. But I think as this football team, as we speak on this football team, that 4th and 16, to knowing everything that goes into it, the rivalry and everything else, and all the talk and the chance for us to get back on track, and for that just craziness to happen, something you never. When is the last time you ever saw a team have 4th and 16 and throw up a prayer and there's pass interference called? I mean, it just, I feel like the wheels came off at that moment. Even though it was early on, I feel like that was the moment, the defining moment of this season. And look what has happened since. The Bengals have gone 0-6 in 1-score games. I mean, obviously they had lost to the Patriots, so that was, I guess they went 0-5. But to me, that 4th and 16, it's going to be what we look back on if this team doesn't make the playoffs as the play that derailed the season.
Yeah, I agree. Once again, this is powered to you guys by BETUS. Make sure that you guys check them out tonight. They got some pretty good deals going on. And if you like NBA, they also have some deals. Jake doesn't like the NBA, but if you like the NBA and you want to bet on it, on some of these current basketball players and not the 90s ones that Jake is in love with.
That's when basketball was good. That's when basketball was good.
Make sure you check them out. But let's get into the biggest bust of the season, bro. And I'm going to kick this one off, bro. It's Zack Moss. To me, really? Zack Moss was a bust. He offered nothing in the run game. He got hurt. I was going to say someone else that was a free agent, but that person is still healthy right now. Zack Moss, the situation just never really worked out with him. He didn't offer any explosiveness. You're talking about a 3.3 yards per carry average. Just didn't really add anything to this offense whatsoever. His best game was like a game where he had 58 yards rushing. And, when you're replacing a guy like Joe Mixon, an obvious, it looks even worse now, top 5 running back in the NFL, the last thing you're expecting is for things to go the way that they did with Zack Moss. Now, shout out to him. I hope he gets healthy, but I don't see the Bengals bringing Zack Moss back on another 1-year deal. I think it's clear that he was not the guy for this team, so I'm going Zack Moss. Jake, who you got?
First of all, let me just say I agree with you 100%. I mean, again, I said it before we went on live. Zack Moss was Joe Mixon's replacement, not Chase Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Chase Brown is not Joe Mixon's replacement. Joe Mixon's replacement was Zack Moss, and I agree. I think he's right at the top as far as busts go. I had a tough one, guys. I had a really tough one here because CTB and Geno Stone, I think, are to me are fighting over this one. I'm going to say Geno Stone. I'm going to lean towards that direction, and I think the reason why is because we are now years. Jesse Bates is an All-Pro, and again, I hate doing this and looking back, but we are still trying to replace Jesse Bates. and we have not done it yet. And Geno Stone right now is ranked, I think, in the bottom 5 safeties in the NFL. To me, it's Geno Stone, and I hate that because, again, I was at the game where he picked Joe Burrow off in the red zone and basically won the Ravens a game. I was when we signed him, guys. I mean, I was so happy. I went off on our show. This guy is going to be and he is just. I don't even know. He's just been bad. He's been bad, and it's a shame. I feel for the guy, but he is definitely, I think, the biggest bust right now.
Maan, who you got?
Man, there's a long list of them, and that's what stinks. There's too many that we can select or choose from. That's what hurts this team. No, it is. I mean, we have 3 of the best players in football, then we have 4 or 5 of arguably bottom 10. I'm going to go with Alex Kappa. He's been on the team for a few years. I think the last 2 years he's battled injuries. I just think that the injuries have caught up to him. He's not the player he used to be. Offensive linemen are supposed to be pancake blocking people. He's the one that's getting pancaked. He's on his back. He's getting destroyed. I mean, that one play, he almost caved in Joe Burrow's knee himself. I mean, he is absolutely getting manhandled. There's no physicality. He's not eating any glass. He's absolutely he is not a good player right now. And Pro Football Focus has him ranked 63 out of 77 guards. Guys, I know PFF isn't for everybody, but that's not good. And we need to get better at those spots.
Some of the most sacks at the guard position in the NFL.
He is absolutely getting manhandled. Honestly, watch a game and look how many times he's on his back. Man, it shows you how good Joe Burrow is playing in front of people like that. Alex Kappa's my guy.
Zim, who you got, bro?
I'm gonna go with Sheldon Rankins. I feel like Sheldon Rankins is a guy that I thought I expected way more. I don't think a lot of people pay. I think it's not the sexiest position. I was like, well, I think he'll do a little bit more run stopping. His PFF run grade is a 46. He's at the bottom of the position. 287 snaps. He's only had 4 pressures the whole entire season. This guy has played a good amount of games where I feel like he should have some bit of an impact. And then the last game, he missed because of an illness. Like, I don't care if I have diarrhea. I'm lining up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's up with these guys, bro. Like, that one right there is funny money. You talked about BJ Hill. I'm glad you said that.
Money. Funny money. Funny money. How did nobody say that?
I feel like if I just grabbed like $100 bill with him and just burned it, it would just it's fake. It's not real. Like, would they pay him whatever? He's a bank robber at this point to me, bro. Like, I don't think he has a purpose. I think the younger guys that are sitting right there, like McKinley and BJ and Chris Jenkins, them 3, I would let them take the brunt of those snaps. If I could rewind time, we would go Reader, right? But think about this. Maan just talked about the most underrated guy being BJ Hill. You could literally just say, okay, forget Sheldon at the end of the season or whatever. I'm going to just give that money to BJ Hill, a guy that I know I can count on, been solid, and he does have games where everybody else is playing on all one accord. He does step up, and he makes plays. So I think Sheldon Rankins is like the one that him and Geno, I guess, are neck and neck. But Sheldon Rankins, I don't even know. There are games that you could go a whole game, you don't see him at all, like at all.
There might be a third person in the race. When you said funny money, Evan McPherson is up there.
Yes. 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 I love that one. Listen, that's some funny money right there. Evan McPherson is some funny money, man. You talk about a guy that has completely fallen off. Man, oh man. I can't even watch him kick a 35-yard field goal, guys. I'm terrified. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy how far he's dropped.
Toughest injury, Zim. Let's start with you, bro.
I'm gonna go with Dax Hill. I just think when you look at the position right now, I mean, going into this week, I mean, Dax Hill, we could have figured it out. Him and Fig Newton on each other. I thought Dax Hill was coming into his own. I'm gonna go with Dax Hill on that one.
Maan, who you got?
I agree, Dax Hill. I think Dax Hill was going to get better each game. Was going to be a star player for the Bengals. I still think he will be, but I think that injury really set us back. Dax Hill.
Jake, who you got?
This was tough for me. Mine is not a guy that's out for the year, but that's T. Higgins. I think losing T. Higgins for 5 games. Listen, guys, I don't care what anyone says. I don't want to hear any of the nonsense about T. Higgins is average and all this nonsense, blah, blah. Listen to me. T. Higgins is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. And that is 100% fact. T. Higgins, not having him for 5 games, was very detrimental to this offense. This offense is one of the best in football, maybe top 3 when T. Higgins is playing football. And I think Joe Burrow and T. Higgins have this incredible connection, and you see it. They came into the league together. Joe feels very comfortable with T. I just feel like this offense is different when Joe feels like, I got T out there. I know Jamar's the dude, but I feel like that. Listen, there's a connection there between Joe and T, and it's real. That stuff is real. And the fact of Joe knowing that T is out there somewhere makes this offense 100 times better.
For sure. T is a huge part of the offense. As much as I want to speculate that it could possibly be Eric All, because just the way that they kind of changed to this whole 12 dynamic, I'm actually going to go with Orlando Brown Jr., bro. Orlando Brown Jr. started off the game as one of the top tackles in football. And it seems like ever since he's gotten injured, the Bengals have just returned to form in terms of the bad offensive line play that we've seen thus far. It was like that he was the last wheel that like rolled off. Obviously, they had the injury earlier in the season with I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now, but they lost the right tackle at first.
Trent Brown.
But you had Mims, and then when you just lost Orlando Brown Jr., it's just like the Bengals offensive line went from being a very solid top 20, top 15 offensive line to then just now like having Joe Burrow see go. So I've got to go with Orlando Brown Jr. Hopefully they get him back for this stretch, but I think all of those were pretty good options in terms of injuries. Let's talk a little bit about the experience in terms of games. Now, it has been a 4-7 season. However, is the best experience at home in the jungle at Paycor or on the road? Maan, let's start with you.
I haven't gone to a game this season, but I've seen the Bengals on the road and I've seen them at Paycor. I really do enjoy Paycor. I enjoy it there. I just love the atmosphere. I love the city. We go every year. I just feel so comfortable in the downtown area, and just to build up, Friday, Saturday night before the game, and just visiting all the tailgates. And also, I'm critical of the Bengals when it comes to player personnel and what they do, but they've done a lot of great things with the stadium, excitement and fan interaction and, ruler of the jungle. It's exciting, and I got to salute them for that. But I really love the experience at Paycor, and can't wait to go back this year.
Jake, what about you?
I'm with Maan. I have not been to a game yet, unfortunately, this year. You guys know I'm a season ticket holder, but the high school season is it's a grind, so it's tough, and I'm looking forward to getting back up there for the this last stretch here for a couple games. But I'm with Maan. I've been to a lot of road games and obviously been to a lot of home games, and the Bengals in Paycor, especially I haven't been this year, but these last 3 years have been incredible. The atmosphere has been incredible. And I'm like Maan. I love the city. I just love the city. I love the makeup of the city. I don't think anything beats a home game in Paycor. And like Maan said, they have done so much fan involvement stuff here recently, these last couple of years, that just makes it a great experience. So I'm definitely a Paycor guy, 100%.
Zim, are you a Paycor guy?
I'm a Paycor guy, but I have a selfish game that I went to. I went to the Giants game, and then I watched, my son, he actually met Burrow and took a picture with him. And, that was my first time ever seeing like Joe Burrow, in person. Me and Ace, we interviewed his dad, and, I've those are my guys. Those are my folks, and that was really cool. But like the whole Giants like aftermath of it is like my own personal thing, I think. But personally, like just my experience at the games, I thought the opener was pretty lit, but if you were there, it was a little nervous because we were unsure about Jamar Chase. And then when he started warming up, everybody started to light up a little bit, but it did get a little depressing. I was going to say this, at home, watching the crowd scream at the last Chargers game, screaming "Who Dey," and then that Commanders game looked like one of the like another game that I was like, man, I wish I was there. So there's some tremendous games at Paycor.
I'm gonna go with Paycor, but bro, when we were in LA that day, that experience, like if the Bengals win that game, that is easily like my best Bengals experience anywhere, and that would have been in LA. That whole day, I know all of us were pretty much there. I think, Maan, were you there too?
Super Bowl.
Yep,
Yeah,
Maan was there. Like
we were all there.
That was 60% Bengal fans.
Going into In-N-Out
awesome.
Burger and hearing "Who Dey," like there's nothing that I will ever see like that. And to be able to go into that stadium and just see it taken over by Bengals fans in LA, in a city where that team was from, was just crazy. The whole event, everybody that we met that day, the Bengals just didn't win the game. So like,
it's crazy, right?
I gotta go with Paycor, but that would have definitely have been up there if the Bengals would have won the Super Bowl.
Ace,
sure.
just say it. It's because that's when you met me on that trip. Just say it,
bro. That's how this whole thing. This doesn't
crazy.
even happen.
Crazy. It's been that long, man. It's crazy that it's been that long.
All right, let's get a couple of topics out of the way because we do have our guests currently backstage. So let's go ahead and speed through these next two. Final thoughts on the playoff outlook, Zim. Let's start with you.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to make it as short as possible. I saw the Dolphins win yesterday, and I said, man, I started looking at their schedule. And just the overall, like, there's so many teams that we're betting on to lose. It really just – that Chargers game that we just lost puts us in a bad spot. There are some scenarios that if the Bengals were, like, to me, more reasonable, would be 9-8. There are some scenarios, if you go look at the Broncos' schedule, that I think, like the Chargers, they're probably going to go in. Maybe they win tonight, maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe that changes how I view this. But there are some scenarios. The Broncos, they have to play the Colts, so we're going to figure that out when we get there. But there are some scenarios where we're 9-8 and we can make it. I don't think it's that crazy to say, but going by all the games that we've lost in these heartbreaking fashion, it's hard for me to like believe in it. If they were to beat the Steelers this upcoming week, I think you'll see a lot of people say, well, hold up now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at.
Jake, what you got?
I think Zim said it perfectly. I mean, I think the Chargers game hurt badly. Now we just have to scoreboard watch every week and make sure the Bengals take care of business on their end. I think winning 6 games in a row is very feasible for this team. I mean, this again, we're still talking about this football team has dudes. But I think going 10-7 and looking at the Broncos schedule and the Dolphins schedule, I do think the Broncos maybe drop another game, maybe 2, obviously to us, hopefully. What really sucks, guys? This is what really sucks about the whole thing. There is not one team in this league that wants to play the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs. I promise you, if you ask the Chiefs, if you ask the Bills, if you ask the Ravens, what's the one team you do not want to see in the playoffs? And I guarantee you it is 99% the Cincinnati Bengals, because the Bengals really, not just this year, but in years past, have been very detrimental to those football teams. Nobody wants to see the Bengals make the playoffs. I promise you, nobody wants to see it.
Yeah, for me, man, they got to win 6 straight for it to be a guaranteed chance. Even at 9-8, I think it gets tricky. Broncos seem to kind of have caught fire here. Yeah, I think at worst they can get in with 9-8, but I think you have to win 6 straight to cement it. But I think it's more likely that they probably finish 9-8. What about you, Ma?
Yeah, just one game at a time. Obviously, I don't think they can afford to drop another game. They got to win 6 in a row. Just focus on the Steelers right now. We are going to do some scoreboard watching. I think the games we have are very winnable. We just got to win the rest of our games at Paycor and just continue chipping away one game at a time. Let's see what happens.
All right, last one here before we bring in our next guest, comedian Michael Turner. Next choice for head coach if Zac is fired. I'm just gonna put this out here, man. I know people want Ben Johnson. I know people want the legendary coaches. I'm gonna take the realistic one. Give me Joe Brady, bro. Give me Joe Brady. Reunite him with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. He's already shown that he can do it before. He's not gonna cost much. I think that he'll have a staff intact because he spent some time in New Orleans, spent some time in LSU. That means more people that are familiar with those offensive guys. Give me Joe Brady at this point if that's what I got to do to try to get this team over the hump. Zim, what about you?
This is going to be a long shot, and I don't think people are thinking this one. But give me Coach Owens. State champ. Out of nowhere. Probably get into a fist fight with a Brown or something like that or whatever. But give me the state champ. They talk about the pay and our front office is super cheap. I think this guy will work for a little bit.
I will. I promise.
Skyline Kelly.
Give me Jake.
I promise you I will.
What about you, Jake?
I don't really have a specific name, but I just listen, guys. I want a head coach that is two things. One is going to hold people accountable, including himself, and two is going to be able to make tough decisions. And I love Zac Taylor, but he hasn't shown me that. He hasn't shown me. Again, being a head football coach at any level, the hardest part about it is not the X's and O's. It's not the day-to-day. It is making decisions that no one else can make. And Zac Taylor has not shown that. Frank Pollock should have been fired after the Super Bowl year. That was the worst offensive line performance in NFL history. Zac Taylor he's not going to make the decisions that need to be made. And I want a head football coach that is going to come in, hold these players accountable, and make the tough decisions that people don't want to make. And I don't know who that is or who that would be. Obviously, Ben Johnson, you love the creativity on offense. But I'm not sure that's what the Bengals need. I think the Bengals need somebody to come in and clean house and tell the front office and Duke Tobin that this is my football team and we're going to build it like I want to build it. Zac Taylor's not going to do that. He's a yes man guy. So I just want to see somebody come in and put down the business and lay it down and say, this is how I want it. This is how it's got to be done to win football games.
What about you, Ma?
I'll be quick. I want somebody that's going to come in and be tough, punch somebody in the face. I want attitude. I want a hellraiser. I know he's a recycled coach. Mike Vrabel would come in. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm sick and tired of being pushed around. I'm sick and tired of being intimidated. We're not a physical team. And he would bring that. Yes, he would have to bring in a great offensive mind to help out. But I think attitude-wise, he would help the Bengals out tremendously, and that's what we need. I'd want a Mike Vrabel type coach.
I thought you were going to say Zim. Okay, I thought you were going to say Zim for a second there, man.
yeah.
My
offensive coordinator.
My whole train of thought is in the same realm. A lot of people I watch online, because I've been posing this question online, and a lot of people have been talking about like how they want like this offensive firepower with like Joe Burrow. And I'm like, Joe Burrow's kind of like at the Peyton Manning level of his career to me, like, or approaching that. I don't think you really need some crazy offense. Like for the Bengals, like you said earlier, Jake, if T. Higgins plays in those games or they have another wide receiver playing there, the Bengals are easily a top 2, top 3 offense. Like their offense isn't like the issue at all. Like I don't even care. Like I feel like Joe Burrow is just going to work that out with whatever coordinator you give him. I said Jake, but Bill Belichick is the guy that I've been saying online and stuff. part of the reason is for what you were saying, Mon, too. It's like that toughness, Joe Burrow's systematic approach to football, and then that quirky humor. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen that video where Bill Belichick, Randy Moss asked him to go to like a Halloween party, and he's like,
Yes.
oh, what am I? And then he goes. He reminds me of Joe Burrow. That's the craziest part about it, is like that. I'm not trying to be friendly with y'all. When y'all see Joe Burrow on the thing, when they're walking through and the players are walking through, Joe Burrow never participates in none of that stuff. Like none of those little games that they play and stuff like that. He's not here to play no games. He ain't here to pass out no footballs, and he's here to win. And I feel like Bill Belichick is like so in line with the way that Joe Burrow thinks. It's insane. If you go watch their brand of humor when they decide to like crack a joke, it's very on time. It's very on point.
Yeah.
He's so
I agree.
Bring Belichick and Vrabel as an assistant, and Vrabel can take over after a couple years.
And Jake, Coach
Sign me
Owens, bring me on.
Hey, what about Fig Newton today about the ping pong table? What Fig Newton said, he goes, "I don't play ping pong. I play defensive back."
Yes,
I love what he said.
For sure. Love the fire from this team. That is going to conclude the Wincinnati roundtable. So shout out to Jake and Maan for joining us.
Thank you,
Eric
guys.
in the back hanging around. Make sure that you guys support the Bengals Pulse on the Wincinnati Network. We appreciate what those guys do. They come to you guys live after every game, giving you guys the energy, keeping the good vibes going. Sometimes it's the critical vibes which have to be out there because it's been a critical season for the Bengals. So shout out to you guys for joining and helping us put together this roundtable. We'll definitely be sure to link up again and do another one. But appreciate you guys, man.
We appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys. And with that said, don't forget that this show is sponsored by BETUS. We do have that promo once again. It's going to be the YouTube 150. Make sure you tap that in. Whether you're betting on football, whether that is on the Bengals to make the playoffs, whether that is on the NBA, please be sure to hit that up. But without further ado, we are going to bring in Bengals fan, comedian, Michael Turner. What's up, partner?
What's good, fellas? How we living, bro?
Pretty good, bro. How you doing?
Oh, man, I've been better. You know what I mean?
We all have, man. We all have.
I did this last year. I did, to give everybody an idea of what I'm doing. I travel with the team on every road game, and I do stand-up show before every game, like the night before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, I didn't think it would be worse than last year. I was like, man. I was rooting for Jake Browning for half the year, and then they just doing us dirty. But
man, I've seen you all this time, right? And I talked to you like the other day, and I just was saying this. I said, man, if y'all haven't seen Michael Turner like on the road, so he does a show where he's in enemy territory.
Yeah.
And he's asking them all these Bengals questions and stuff with the most hostile people you've ever seen in your life. And you really got to go check this out because he does make it super, super light where somebody like me, I'm just such an asshole. I think that somebody would have just punched me in my face by now. But I feel like you've done this really, really well. When did you start going to it, doing this, I guess, this pregame thing that you're doing?
So I started comedy so I'm born and raised in Cincinnati, right? And then I went to Arizona State and I started comedy in Phoenix, right? So I started comedy there and the Cardinals team was like trying to do some pregame stuff. So I started doing this tailgate stuff and I got really good at it. Cause to your point, like I'm always saying some slick shit, but like I say it quick enough. I feel like I get away with things and I got it. I could do it with a smile. I also I'm 12, 13 years into stand-up comedy. So like, I'm good with the crowd work. Like that's one of my skill sets is like you're not going to check me on stage, right? Which is like something I take pride in. So really what I'm doing is just crowd working people to their face and kind of finessing them. And sometimes I'm making fun of them so quick they didn't even know I made fun of them, that's when I really have fun. But I started doing it with the Bengals 2 years ago. So this past, what was it? It would have been the 2023 season, right? And because I've been a fan whole time. I've got this thing that I do. I like going to the tailgates, messing with people. So I'm like, yo, why don't I lean into the Bengals one and start a tour where I go to every road game It's like that Venn diagram. Like, what is this thing I want to do and this thing I love to do, and like, how can I combine both those things?
Facts.
And it was really, you know what I'm saying? It's like you guys are like, yeah, there's a business model of trying to talk about the Bengals, but you're trying to make money, but you're also trying to do something you love, right? And so that's all I did, and it's really been dope, man. I leaned into it last year, and I did it again this year, and I was like, man, I hope if the Bengals do better, I know it'll be better. But like the fact of the matter is, they're 4-7 right now. The love that I get is really dope. It's been cool. I see people like, obviously y'all see me doing it on social media, but like, bro, the tailgates, if I see Bengals fans, they're like, oh, bro, you're that dude. Like I was at Paul Brown a couple times this year. I know we call it a Paycor, but you know what I'm saying? And but I got served a beer. The dude's giving me a beer. He was like, bro, I know you. And I was like, is that free beer? He's like, nah, but like I know you though. and so like it's been cool. So like that's a long-winded way of saying I started last season. This is year 2. It's called the Road Warrior Tour. I go to every Bengals road game. And before the game. So the night before the game, I'll do a stand-up comedy show in whatever city we're in. So I'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, before the Dallas game in a couple weeks, and then before the Nashville game in Tennessee, I'll be at on the 14th. I'll be there, and then I just lined up Pittsburgh, and yeah, man. And then I go before the game. I fuck with the tailgate. I don't know if we can curse on here, my bad, but
No,
you know what I'm saying. And okay, we can curse and fuck the Steelers then. But yeah, man. So I go to the tailgates, man. Baltimore was the toughest one this year. Them boys are scary.
man,
I'll say that.
man, for sure. So you being a Bengals fan, how did you become a Bengals fan, and what's like the earliest memory that you have of the Bengals?
Bro, this is the realest way to become a Bengals fan. It's on the birth certificate, dog. It is on, it's on born in Christ Hospital. I was just born into it, dude. My dad was from LA, my mom's from New York, but they didn't force nothing on me. So I was raised in Cincinnati, and that's what it is, man. And that's the realest way you can do it, because it's like that's what people try to act like I know because y'all from Cincinnati, or y'all chose this life, right?
I'm from Cincinnati, yeah.
But you chose this life, and I think that's like clinical depression. I don't know if you're a masochist or something. Like there's some medication for that, but like because choosing this life is crazy. That's what it's like. People are like, man, how did you become a Bengals fan? It's like, dog, I'm from Cincinnati. Like that's the only way to be a Bengals fan.
But I hate that question though, too. Though, like I get it, but I don't. So you say like think, all right, so it kind of does depend on when you were born too.
How old are you?
So I'm in my early 30s, right? So mind you,
Ocho.
Yeah. So think about this.
Madden.
I wasn't even alive when the Bengals went to the other, the second Super Bowl or whatever, like 88 or whatever. So I wasn't even alive yet.
Oh, he's saying 88 or whatever, like it's nothing. 88,
right.
88, dog.
88. I wasn't. So you got to understand, like, I've been watching nothing but the best wide receivers all this time. I watched them go to the playoffs all the time. So it's not like some thing. That's why everybody's like, why are you always talking? I'm like, bro, the 90s weren't. I was like 2 years, 5 years. I don't know. I don't remember.
To your point too, the people act like we've been whacked for a while. It's like, yo, those like all the way. Obviously, give props to Kitna where it's due. Those 2 years with Kitna were the 8 and 8 years were very fun. We had very fun teams, like, and everybody's rooting for us. See Peter Warrick, like Ocho, and then you got TJ coming in the mix. Like those were extremely fun. They were also like not unbeatable in Madden, but like top 5 on those Madden games. Like those, you had the Bengals, you were putting up 30 on whoever. So so that does make sense to me. But I was born into it, born in '86. So like earliest memories, I had my father actually worked for like Channel 5 in Cincinnati, and he worked for JTM. If y'all know JTM, the grocery store, you see the meats and stuff. Yeah. So I actually, like, some of my earliest memories, I knew like Chris Collinsworth growing up. Like if I ever see Chris Collinsworth, he knows my pops. They stayed in the same hotel room a couple times. He smelled my father's farts. You know what I'm saying? Like, think on that. I know that. And so crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I smelled them too, and that shit will set you back. But it ruined a couple of dinners, bro. That's probably why my mom left them. But So like I had weird access to like actual players, and then but like earliest memories, bro, I remember going to Damon's and watching us draft Kajana Carter as like a maybe what was that? I was probably 7, 8 years old, and like really thinking. I remember my dad was like, things are good now. Everything, and it's like, first of all, it wasn't, but like Kijana was supposed to be like that dude that was like, you got this guy. And I remember Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. Man, Darnay Scott meant a lot to me, bro. Carl Pickens, like those are fun teams too. The Shake and Blake. I went to the Dick Sporting Good at Kenwood Town Center, not at Kenwood Town Center, down the way, and saw Jeff Blake. And yeah, man, core memories.
That's fire, bro. You making me think. Like, it wasn't my earliest memory as a Bengals fan, but I remember being at the Lazarus, in like the TV section, watching the draft when the Bengals. I'm thinking the whole time they're gonna draft Steven Jackson, and then like that was back when it was like 15 minutes on like the draft clock for a pick, and like the draft would take forever.
Yeah,
They got down to like the last minute, bro, and the logo changes to the Rams, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, they got Marshall Faulk. There's no way. We're still gonna get Steven Jackson. And then they took Steven Jackson, bro. And I just remember being salty as hell in the Lazarus, sitting on the couch, just salty as hell.
Yeah, man. Core memories. That all of our memories are really painful shit too.
Sure.
But it's a character builder being a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals. That's why I think, like, first of all, I have a good sense of humor. But if you like, I don't know, Patriots fans, they're funny, but like the younger ones now that all they know is success, like they're not that funny anymore. Us real heartache fans, we got good sense of humor about shit. Like, even when things are good, we can check ourselves. We're humble. That's why I actually don't trust Browns fans, because they act like they're great when they're not great. And it's so weird because, like, even when we had that Burrow year, the Burrow years, right? Like, we always know I don't talk that shit like they talk that shit. The way they talked shit with Flacco last year was like very telling of how much they lack self-awareness. Because like,
they talk crazy when Deshaun had one good game,
bro.
There was a tweet somebody tweeted me in earlier today. It was like, Zim, get a load of this idiot. Deshaun had a decent game. He was like, yeah, he's already better than Burrow. Like, they are just they're just trained to do it. And I do another show, and it's an AFC North roundtable, and Ace does one too. The guy on there is a great person. He's a real cool dude. But when it comes to like the Browns, dude, everybody's like super sorry. They're like, oh man, I feel so bad. I said, don't. If this dude were to win, it would be.
I know.
They won that one game like 2 weeks ago. He was like, we're about to go on a run. We're going to run the whole table. I was like, and you're serious? It was like dead ass.
Dog, they're the most delusional people, man. It's crazy because like I get to go to all these games. That's the coolest thing about what I do. And the last couple of years has been like these perspectives I get to gain on the different cities and shit. And first of all, going to all these cities in the AFC North, like we talk shit about like Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. We're all the same city, bro. We got a big body of water. We got a bunch of tough looking broads. They'll drink under the table, still blow you at the end of the night. Good women. But I'm saying, like, every woman in these towns look like they just bowled a turkey and got into a bar fight. But like, and those are my women. I love these girls. You know what I'm saying? I grew up loving these girls. And but like, that's all the same city. But when you go to these cities, like Cleveland fans, like we just talked about, Pittsburgh fans are actually like, they got their six. Like, they're actually like in the twilight years. They're actually like retirees. Like, I'm telling you, they're actually soft. They are not as threatening as you would think. Whereas Baltimore is real fans. They also know that their shit does stink. They also know that they've lost in the playoffs and shit. But like, they'll talk smack like we would talk smack when we're good, as we should. We got a backbone. We know what we got. We got Joe Burrow. But I do. They're the most hostile of the fans, and it's the only time where I was like, really not concerned that anything would really happen. Like, I'm a good fan in road game. I know how to like say my shit, but like, you know, when we were up 21-7 and Jamar had that 70-yard touchdown, like I went up and down the aisles. I was talking my shit, but like, But at the end of the game, they also like when we lost, they weren't like up, like it was all respect. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I wasn't up in their face. I was dapping up other Bengals fans, right?
Well, that's the move. That's what I do. Like
Don't get up
don't
like
do that. I don't know. I'm that guy. Like I go identify with somebody that we've already said,
Yes.
or you said right there. All right, I'm saying we have a good game.
Yeah. Bump the chest. Yeah.
And then we go. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not. I don't even make eye contact with nobody.
Because it's not. It's never. I'm never trying to be disrespectful. I'm never trying to shit on their city or nothing like that. But I will say something. And also, if I talk shit, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll say something about you. Like I know. I looked up some numbers on some social inequalities within this city. I'll go hard on it, bro. But you know,
you're talking football numbers. He's just talking.
No, I'm talking about the city.
Like, the amount of like the trash, the rat ratio.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, bro, we'll bring up the murder rate in Baltimore mañana, dude. Don't come at me with that.
On a serious note, because I know we got to be mindful of the people's time. I'm sorry that we had a little delay. I appreciate your patience. I did want to, like, just overall, you know, being from the city, going through what you've gone through throughout the years, watching the Bengals, whatever. Are you at a point where you're still hopeful that the Bengals can still go in the playoffs? How are you approaching these last 6 games? This
is like, I was thinking about it yesterday walking around. I posted something yesterday about like the bye week, how you should just remind your family you still care about them. But because this next 6 weeks, we ain't got no time for family, bro. We gotta lock in. But this is the only week. Kiss your kids. Enjoy Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Like, but remind your wife that you love her. But like after this, no family. We got 6 weeks to go. Because the most frustrating thing that the Bengals have done over the last 2 years is also, since the Super Bowl year, really, is the dopest thing they've done and the most frustrating thing they've done is they have provided evidence that they are capable of doing this. And it's wildly infuriating because I got shit to do. I would much rather just be like, yo, I'm done. They're 4-7. Like if this was any other team, I'd be like, they're 4-7. They got no defense. They're done. But they're not any other team. And it's dope. And it gives you hope because you got Joseph Lee Burrow, right? You've got Jamar. You've got hopefully a consistently healthy T. I know homie was saying that he's like one of the top 10. Bro, if he played more than 10 games a year, he'd be top 10. Don't act like he plays. Acting like he doesn't miss 5 games a year is infuriating to me. If you do that, that is documented in your shit. All right. So I love T though. If he could play down the stretch, we are capable of winning any game. So I'm hopeful. And if we win 6 in a row, what's the other frustrating thing? If we rip 6 off, we got to keep Zac Taylor. Then I'm like, do I want that? I don't know. That's what's frustrating. It's like, all right, so it's like red pill, blue pill, right? It's like, wasn't that you that posted that? I'm like sitting here like, yo, if we rip off,
you didn't know.
We got to keep this dude.
Do you know what the most interesting part about it? That was actually a clinical study I was doing on all you guys. The most interesting part about that is I never said that in the red pill scenario that the Bengals wouldn't win the Super Bowl. But I was trying to see, it's actually a study to see, do you want to win or do you want to win the way that you want to win? It's very deep.
That's deep. I didn't know you were like that, Zim. I didn't know.
I can get deep. No pun intended.
Pause, no diddy. But that's why I'm frustrated. I'm like, because also I love when they win. I was at all these whack-ass games that they lost, dude. I was in LA last week, bro. One of the most exciting games I've ever been to, and they caught an L. I was in Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. One of the most exciting football games you could have attended, bro. Straight up. And they just keep dropping these L's. So I would love for them to excite me and show me that. And quite honestly, Zac has proven that he is capable of doing this. That's what's frustrating about him too, is and I don't think they don't like him. A lot of times, like you see Malik Neighbors, obviously the Giants are in a completely different situation, but like you don't see a lot of snide comments about very direct comments about the coaching staff. And I think that they still rock with the dude. And you know, it was easy to talk smack about Marvin back in the day, but bro, they would go 8-0-8, and then they would end like 4-3-1. And I'm like, yo, they still rock with Marvin. That
Yeah.
he still has the locker room.
Don't you feel like it's changed a little bit? Like I know Ace, you've probably seen this too. The Joe Burrow comments of maybe not like a week ago.
This last week,
The Jamar Chase thing, coach.
There's some subtleties, but if you those dudes in the locker room want to beat Pittsburgh, and if you beat Pittsburgh, then to what we've already talked about, then you look at a very easy road to 7-7 if you beat Pittsburgh, and if you get 7-7, then you are looking at 3 games that are all winnable, and it would all culminate back in Pittsburgh. And
what's the possibility of Pittsburgh resting some players at the end of the season, possibly?
That's why this Pittsburgh game is the most important one, because depending on how things play off by week 18, like they could just pretty much hang you that game depending on how things go. That's why this one is the most important. I gotta get your top 5 Bengals of all time, bro.
Great question. I gotta go. I always go Ocho, just because I think he was like. I think Ocho, I used to say it back when he popped off. Ocho Cinco was one of the most important athletes to come to Cincinnati since Pete Rose. What he gave that city in those these years of like nothingness was so dope. He talked that shit like the city of Cincinnati has. We're swaggy as fuck. We're a very swagged out city, and he talked that talk for us, which was really important. So I always give Ocho his love, and the fact that he stayed true all these years and still shows love, I love that. Damn, Ocho, I've done this before actually. It's got to go Ocho, and then I would definitely go. I'd have to go Joe second. It's crazy. I probably easily could go number 1 with him, but I think Ocho, like throughout my lifetime, he was just dope. Burrow second. Dude, a lot of current ones, man, because Jamar's right there too. And then I'd have to go. I went to Arizona State University, and so you know the next one I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he was the man, bro. He actually might be over Jamar right now, and I could maybe argue too, but Vontaze Burfict is my dude, bro. Vontaze,
Arizona State connection right there.
And I got to see him, dude. I got to see him. He has the most iconic picture ever. He pointed at Matt Barkley like he was gonna kill this man. And
you ever met him before?
I have not.
Really?
No, I have not.
I got you.
For real? Bro, I was there when he was at ASU. I rode for him hard, and I was so excited when we got him because
biggest ASU fan you will ever meet. I don't even like college football, and he still be talking about y'all coach right now. He'd be like, that's the coach of the year. I'd be like, okay, bro, like
we might have coach of the year. They ain't gonna give it to him because they never. First of all, you know what's funny about me going to Arizona State? Literally the same exact type of fanhood as the Bengals fan. They always get hyped and then they always lose the big game. It's like the same shit. But and then to round out my top 5, I go Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man, man. Pac-Man was I love that we got him when we got him, and he was able to get his life right with us. I know that means a lot to him. Mike Brown, say what you will about all these things, the second chances and stuff. I believe in second chances too, and I know that we get. It was always talked about how many character guys fell through the cracks and were bad. It's like, yo, talk about the good ones, because Pac-Man turned the shit around, and a lot of people are like, what about what happened in the airport, bro? I'm 100% on his side in the airport. What about that chick that he clocked at the bar? She poured a beer on his damn head. He's been in the. Every time I hear a Pac-Man fight going down, I'm like, I would love to hear the whole story. Until I do, I'm on his side. I
feel like you kind of sound like, you know, one thing that pisses me off, and I know somebody going to do it in the comment section just to piss me off even more. When they talk about the playoff game, and they be like, if it wasn't for Pac-Man and Burfict, I'd be like, the Jeremy Hill fumble. Dude. Are you serious?
Also, not only the Jeremy Hill fumble, Joey Porter shouldn't have been on the field, and he would have had. That is literally. Those penalties cancel each other. They didn't call that. And why is he up in his face? Why is Joey Porter, a grown man who already tried to run up on Levi Jones in the casino and got cocked? Like, why are you doing that? Joey, why are you trying to make it? And that makes me very. I do not blame. At the end of the day, Jeremy Hill needs to hold on to that ball 100%.
There's so many Bengals fans that be like, "Oh my God, it's Pat-Man." I'm like, bro, if Hill doesn't fumble, the plays that you're talking about never even occur.
100%.
The game is over.
But even within that, I even go beyond that. Like Joey Porter is in the wrong 100%. And he's an assistant coach. He should have never been on the field. They should have. Why did that ref even allow that to happen? Pac-Man was only going up at a coach that's talking shit. Why is he talking shit to a player?
Munchak grabbing Nelson's locks on like the sideline. That game was wild.
Bro, there's never been a franchise that has had more overturned. There are literally rules in the rule book because of like 5 things that they've done directly to the Bengals, the Steelers to the Bengals.
Yeah.
Hines Ward was dirty. Oh man, don't get me started, bro. It's Steelers week. No, I'm not Steelers week. No.
You bringing out the real like internet Bengals is very different these days. Like I grew up my whole life hating the Steelers. But now because
it's crazy, bro.
So laid back, everybody's just like, yeah, I mean, they're cool. I'm like,
bro, it's crazy because I feel like the Ravens joint has kind of overshadowed the Steelers in like recent years, and it's like the Steelers have kind of been on a downside, but like this was the rivalry that we always used to get up for. Is this one?
TJ used to clean his shoes with the towel, bro. There was a Sports Illustrated article. It was like the greatest rivalry in the NFL that season. It was that had to be what 06, 07, one of them Carson Palmer early years. And the Kimo von Oelhoffen thing. I remember that was formative stuff, dude. That shit that sits with you, bro. And dude, honestly, the dude that when he juggled that ball, Martavius Bryant, that was never
a catch.
That was and then they come back the week later and they're like, our bad. It's like, dog, we just lost the game. How you gonna say our bad?
They did that to us this year with the Gesicki touchdown. They're like,
I know.
They're bad. They did that to us in the Chiefs game. Oh yeah, we did, but I know you played a whole play, but we're just gonna let them run it back. Hey, before I let you go, Mike, hey, check this out.
I can't. I'm flying back to Cincinnati tonight too. By the way, I'm all jacked up.
Let people know where they can find you out on your tour. There's someone in the comment section. This is probably the number one comment of the night. Ben probably wants to catch up with you on tour. He says Michael Turner wears leopard underwear. Where can he catch you at?
Bro, I don't wear leopard underwear. You think I'm a Jaguars fan? You think I'm a Panthers fan? Dog, this shit is striped up, okay? Also, I do rep Puma all the time. They call me Puma Poppy. I'm a big cat guy. Big cat. But, hey, Turner Comedy on all social media, at Turner Comedy, all one word, Turner Comedy. And then turnercomedy.com has all my the links to every ticket that you can get. I will be at every road game. I've been to every single Bengals road game for the past 2 seasons, other than the Chiefs game this year because my cousin got married. Don't hold that against me. Also, and then at the end of the year, don't wait. Hey, the Bengals going to give the fan of the year to some other motherfucker. I've been to every damn road game, bro. Talk to your boy. And but yeah, turnercomedy.com. Instagram's always one of my probably most active ones. And then YouTube is at Michael Turner Comedy. But either way, you can get all my links at Turner Comedy.
Well, bro, we appreciate you, Michael, for spending some time with us, bro. Let's hope that we turn the season around, brother. Appreciate you for coming on again. Who dey?
Hey, who dey? And fuck the Steelers.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Mike, man. Dope dude. Make sure that you guys definitely stop by and see the tour. If you got Bengals fans heading to Pittsburgh, make sure that you guys turn up, show up and show out. Can't wait to see his stuff for the tailgate. That's going to be a classic one, especially when you talk about the Steelers. Before we get out of here, we just want to say hello to our sponsors over at Midwest Best Barbecue.
G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. It's the AC to the Zim, M to the B's. Uno wings, G-Funk wings and them CTVs. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Midwest Best is the place to be for queuing wings. Say what up with Jordan Battle. We be going to battle. Intercepting balls like CTB did on Seattle. Putting 6 up on AZ. Juice gang amazing. Make sure you come get these wings, cause Zim be stay blazing. And T-Game be smooth as ice. Jamal making DBs fold. TV got big levels, and now you already know. Hits are pretty for Uno wings. Cam got the new wings. We call them CTBs. Only at MBs. H to the Zim, M into the B's.
Shout out Midwest Best Barbecue 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. You guys couldn't see it, but Zim was getting some dance moves in behind the scene. Make sure that you guys check out those CTB wings. Check out those Dillinator wings. They got you covered. G-Funk, you know that they got you covered. Check them out. For those who were lucky enough, they also had the Thanksgiving dinners that they did, so hopefully you cater with them. Don't forget to cater with them as well. They do all kind of events outside of just great food that they have there. Shout out again to Michael Turner coming on, repping with the Wincinnati podcast. Had a ton of fun with him. Shout out to Jake and Maan for coming on. And shout out to my partner Zim for putting this whole thing together. Partner, did you want to say anything before we get up out of here?
I'm going to go with Mike with the F Pittsburgh. I appreciate you as always, man. That was a good show. Just to give an update, currently right now, the Ravens are down 10-0 to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Go make that bet on BETUS. 150%, YouTube 150. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wincinnati podcast.